Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss one common theme across India and maybe across the world, that whenever we are going through certain challenges, whenever we have challenges with respect to a person, for that matter, if we are challenging to build a good relationship with our boss or maybe our partner or maybe our spouse, and that person, the counterparty is adamant to make our life hell, right? And they are that person is specifically and particularly pinpointing us, and they want ill of us in all the scenario. And when we go to our leader for the guidance, and many a times, most of the times, the guidance was given to us is that chant for the happiness of that person, and that comes like a setback. Ki bhai, why should I chant for someone who want to destroy me, who want to completely ruin me, who is picking things and trying to make my life hell? And what's the logic behind I should chant for that person? Even when I'm understanding that thing on a superficial level, even when the guidance is given, I maybe say, okay, let me try that. And when I start chanting, it becomes very difficult to think of a Buddhahood of that person, and also to really pray and the good for that person, right? So I will try to make you understand why this guidance is given, what are the multiple elements based on my practice of 20 plus years, what I have understood and how I have applied in my life, and definitely it works. Now, why it works, how it works, and why you should understand this, because once you understand how it works, you will be able to apply it better in your life, right? So to make you understand why this thing is said by and given as a guidance, I will divide the entire video into three parts. And first part and second part may seem very obvious to you while you are reading on whiteboard. The interesting part of the video is the bottom half, where I'm going to make you understand how this phenomena works and why it is mystic in nature. Okay, so let's quickly start and understand. So first thing to understand is that we are bodhisattvas of the earth, and as bodhisattvas of the earth, we are also have to inculcate the traits of the bodhisattva never disparaging. So who was bodhisattva never disparaging? So bodhisattva never disparaging was one of the person in the early incarnation of Gautam Buddha, wherein that person who used to bow down to everyone and anyone who he will meet when he is going for buying something, or when he step out of the house, to whomsoever that person meet, this bodhisattva never disparaging meet, that person used to bow down to that person and say that, hey, I really respect you, and I know that you have a Buddha in Buddhahood, and that Buddhahood will soon or later will definitely emerge, and I have an immense respect for you. Think of it like a, this is in the Lotus Sutra, it is specifically called 24 character Lotus Sutra, right? And that is the premise, that is the fundamental of the um, entire crux of Buddhism. This is the entire crux of Lotus Sutra as well. How we are able to conduct ourselves, how we are showing respect, and what is our behavior, and do I have a faith in myself, in my Buddhahood, and do I have a faith in the Buddhahood of the other person as well? It all comes down to these basic things: how I'm conducting when nobody is watching me, how I'm believing in the Buddhahood of myself and believing in the Buddhahood of the other person. So Bodhisattva never disparaging story actually tells us that no matter whether that person we know, we don't know, whether that person is hitting us with stones or with sticks, I'll continue to pay respect to that person, that life, right? So that is a one understanding from the Bodhisattva never disparaging. That also means that we need to have a wisdom. So Bodhisattva never disparaging had a lot of, he was a smart guy. It's not just that he will go to someone and in front of that person he will say these words when he knows that this person is going to hit, right? So if he anticipate that there will be going to be violence, there will be someone who is going to hit that person, he used to step back, he used to go to a safer distance, and then he used to tell that, hey, I respect you, you have a Buddhahood, I respect that Buddhahood, and you will become Buddha in one life or the other. So that's how he used to maintain the safe distance. And that wisdom is something we also need to have when we are dealing with this kind of a folks, and that wisdom will be arrived when we chant, right? So that is a crux why we have to chant and get the wisdom for that particular scenario. In fact, this respect behavior and is the ultimate crux of Lotus Sutra, and that's why if I have to condense the entire Lotus Sutra so that is what is called 24 character Lotus Sutra. So instead of reading all the chapters, if the crux of the all the chapter is how I'm conducting myself, how I'm respecting the other life, my life, and what's my behavior, and that is what Nichiren Daishonin has also shown through his life. He was put through exile, he was put through persecutions, in fact to the extent of life-threatening execution in terms of Tasunokochi persecution as well. No matter what, he was always conducting in a best possible manner, right? And he doesn't have any grudge for those people. In fact, he has a lot of compassion for those folks, right? And ultimately, when we practice in a way of bodhisattva never disparaging, it also means we are challenging our own fundamental darkness. What is fundamental darkness? Fundamental darkness is when we don't believe in our Buddhahood, or and we don't believe in the Buddhahood of the other person. So when I am hating someone, or when I am getting troubled by someone, it becomes very difficult to believe that that person has a Buddha nature as well, right? So at the most basic level, when I am chanting for the happiness of that person, for the Buddhahood of that person, I am actually challenging the fundamental darkness which is in my life. So that is the one set of answer why we have to chant for and the happiness of the person who is creating trouble in our life, right? Now this is one aspect. Let's talk about the other aspect to make you understand why we need to chant. So I have one theory, and that theory is that out of all the emotions in the world, hate is the most pure emotion. I have put question mark because I know people will have a comment. No, I have the love is the most pure emotion, friendship is the most pure emotion, and companionship, whatnot. But if you start looking from the perspective of the emotions, then if I do away with blood relationship, maybe the son and father relationship, maybe son and brother relationship between, or sister relationship, if we talk from the generic point of view, then hate is the most pure emotion. Why? Because when you hate someone, when you have an anger for someone, that hate is 100% concentrated. There is no dilution in it. When you hate, you hate. When you love someone, you may have a doubt that yaar main to itna kar raha hu, I do so much for this person, that person doesn't reciprocate. Maybe that person is in love with me, maybe that person is looking out for someone, maybe I'm not the best friend of that person, maybe I need to prove. No, when it comes to hate, you need not to prove to anyone. That will show in your emotion, that will show in your mind, that will start coming up in your heart. So if we really think from that point of view, then hate is the most pure, or I can say most concentrated emotion, right? What does that mean when we say that hate is the most concentrated emotion? It basically means I have zero doubt that I hate this person. I have 100% conviction that I hate this person. This person is, should suffer in the hell of incessant suffering. That kind of a feeling I have that for person, right? That also means that not just from my body, but from the mind, and 100% my body is aligned when I talk or when I think of that person, right? And what does that mean? It basically means we have talked about many a times oneness of self and environment. So basically I as a self can influence my environment, and my environment can influence myself. But I want you to take a step back. So what is made up of self, right? So self is made up of two elements. One element is mind, the one other element is your body, right? So first of all, once we are in alignment with our mind and body, what I want to do and what I have to do, right? Many times my mind is not aligned with my body. I need to drag myself to go to a certain party, or to attend a certain workshop, or maybe to attend the guest at home, right? But when my mind and my body is aligned, then that becomes a single entity, right? So only when the mind and body are aligned, they become a self, then that become a single entity, and that entity start influencing my environment, right? So in case of hatred, in case of hating someone, my mind and body both are 100% aligned. So my oneness of mind and body happens automatically at the purest form, and that ultimately start creating a domino effect in my environment, right? And if we look from the point of view of the concept of Ichinin Sanzen, this is exactly what Ichinin Sanzen is in terms of practicality. Why? Because what we say in Ichinin Sanzen, we talk about that there are 3,000 realms in a single moment of life. There are 3,000 possibilities in a single moment of life. Now, I have to condense those 3,000 possibility into a single possibility. I have to condense all the permutation and combination and get it focused on a single thing. When I do so, then that from moment to moment I am manifesting Ichinin Sanzen. So when I am in the world of hate, I have a zero doubt. I have 100% conviction that that person is devil. That person need to go away. At that time, my mind and body are 100% aligned. At that point of time, whatever I am thinking, whatever I am action doing, consciously, subconsciously, they are creating a manifestation of Ichinin Sanzen, right? Do we want that? Of course, we don't want that. We don't want this hatred nets to continue for months and years and years. So for our own benefit, for our own sake, we say, yaar, let's do away with the sinking of mind and body in the form of hate, and let's move the hate to a lesser intensity feeling. Maybe indifference, or then maybe towards the Buddhahood, and maybe towards the love, right? Also, to apply the wisdom. So I need not to encounter that person again and again. I need to have a wisdom to how to tackle that particular situation. So these are the two explanations of why people say that chant for the Buddhahood of that person. So one is very straightforward, that as a practitioner of Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism, as a practitioner, I need to have a conduct and behavior, and I have to have a fundamental faith in the Buddhahood of oneself and others. And when I'm doing so, I am actually upholding the Lotus Sutra. The other logic is because invariably when I am thinking of the hate for that person, ultimately I am manifesting Ichinin Sanzen. I am creating that possibility only, right? And I don't want that. I need to break that, because ultimately that hatred and angerness is something which is going to impact me. Because in case of anger, so think of it like anger or hatredness or jealousy, envy, whatever these feelings are. If you look collectively, all these feelings are something. Think of it like that: you have put a burning coal in your hand, right? So it is going to impact your hand as well. Similarly, if I have an envy, if I have a hatred net for someone, it is going to internally impact me, and over the period of a long run, it is going to impact me in my physical body as well. That is what psychosomatic behavior is. As per Buddhism, whatever symptoms I have, whatever medical conditions I have, it is not just related to body, it is related to my mind as well. So I need to make sure my mind and body deviate from the world of hate when I think of that person, and so that I'm not I don't manifest Ichinin Sanzen, I don't continue to manifest that particular feeling in my environment. So these are the two feelings. Now the third and the most interesting, according to me, this is the most interesting explanation of why we should not do that. And in the coming lectures we will talk more about the observer effect. We are going to talk more about quantum entanglement, and I'll tell you how to use these two phenomena to make sure your prayers get answered very quickly. So as part of that series, let's understand at the quantum level, at our fundamental level, how the life works. What we see at the physical level is something very different from the quantum level. In the quantum level, the fundamental level, the things are so interesting, so unique, and so mind-boggling that today, as on date as well, the science is not able to fathom it. To the extent, there is a phenomena called observer effect. That observer effect phenomena was first discovered or first observed 100 plus years back, and today, till date, scientists doesn't know how it works, but it works. That's what scientists know, and they use that phenomena for a lot of quantum mechanics as well. So what exactly observer effect is? So like I told you, this is one of the phenomena at the quantum level, and we all are made of quantum. Ultimately, everyone is made of atoms only, right? So scientists know that this happens, but they don't know how it happens. And that's what we also say, that we know chanting happens, but how it happens we don't know, and we call it mystic law, and scientists call it spookiness. So Albert Einstein, not observer effect, but Albert Einstein used to say there is a concept called quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement concept, Einstein used to describe as spooky event, something that is very spooky. He was not able to understand how it's happening, right? So let's understand what exactly observer effect is. I will not get into a lot of technicality here. The idea is to make you understand at a generic level what exactly observer effect is, and then use that principle so that we will be able to overcome all the challenges. We are able to get what we want in a very quick fashion. Now, so if I put a gun here, and this is, think of it like that, there are two small openings here, one opening here and one opening here, and if I start blasting a lot of bullets, or blasting gun with bullets from here, then what is going to happen? Then what going to happen is that most of the bullets will be stopped by the wall, and some bullets will pass through this particular openings, and they're going to hit at a particular point later in the wall. Now, instead of a bullet, if I put an electron gun here, then what scientists observe, that instead of electron going through this two slits and hitting at a particular point in the wall, the electron started behaving like a wave, and it started hitting at a multiple points in the wall, which was something very not expected behavior from the electron, because electron has a mass. Electron is something very tangible in nature, and electron is considered as a particle. So if I throw any particle, I can with certainty say that particle will go here or particle will go here, right? However, electron was behaving very abnormally, which was not part of its nature, and electron, when started shooting from this electron gun, it behaved like a wave, and like a wave it started hitting all the places at the same time, which was not expected. Then what scientists did, they started putting a detector here to understand from which particular slit the electron is entering, or electron is passing through, because electron being a matter, it can only pass through a single at one point of time, electron can pass through a single opening only, right? However, because it has to behave like a wave, it basically means that the electron was actually going through both the openings at the same time, and then it is creating a wave nature and hitting the wall at a multiple points. But the interesting thing came when they started putting an observer here. When they started observing the nature of the electron with the help of a detector, electron changed its behavior. Instead of working like a wave, it started behaving like a particle. So somehow electron, which is a lifeless entity, electron which doesn't have any brain, electron which doesn't have any eye, and a consciousness which cannot know what is happening, what is not, even that level, the particle, electron was able to understand now is the time when he is getting observed, and based on the observation he changed its particular behavior, right? And it's not that the detector are put only here. Even if I put detector after the window, even if I put the detector after the window, even then the electron knows that, hey, not here, the detector are put after the window, so even I have to behave like a particle only. And even in the later experiment, even when the detector was put after the wall, even in that case electron was knowing that down the line in the future I am going to get observed, and because I am going to get observed, I am going to change my behavior, right? So that is what observer effect is, and how we are going to apply this observer effect is something we need to understand, based on where we are putting our energy, based on where we are putting our efforts and our mind share. Based on that, the oneness of mind and body comes into picture, and then it ultimately results in oneness of self and environment. So that is what the observer effect is all about. So observer effect tells us that the same entity can behave in a tangible manner, the same entity can behave in a wavery manner as well, and that is how we will that is what the observer effect is, and that is what is understood through the quantum mechanics. But just to keep it straightforward for our understanding, that our fundamental level, the particle, the atom, the smallest unit with which we all are made of course, if we break down the atom, we can go about proton, electron, neutron, but combined one atom is what we are talking about here. So one atom has a capacity to behave like a particle, and that atom has a capacity to behave like a wave. So at one point of time, I don't know whether that atom is in a particle form or whether that atom is in a wave form. That's where the Heisenberg law of uncertainty also came into picture, right? So atom can behave both like a particle and both like a wave, but it depends on whether it is getting observed or not getting observed. So if the atom is getting observed, if the atom is getting attention, if that atom is getting focused energy, then that atom is going to behave like a particle. That means it will be, what is particle? Particle is something which we can feel, which we can touch, which is something tangible in nature, which is manifested, right? What is wave? Wave is something you have scattered the energy, right? It basically means something which is latent in nature. Wave is something where no concrete results will come. It's like we say, my thoughts are becoming wavy, I'm not able to focus. That means you're not able to concentrate, you're not able to make any tangible move forward. However, when we are highly focused and providing attention, then ultimately we will be able to do the manifestation, we will be able to do the tangible outcome as well. How we are going to use this concept? How we are going to use this concept based on the fact that when I start putting a lot of energy and 100% of my energy, which is in terms of Ichinin Sanzen, to that particular person, what I'm doing, I'm actually creating a particle behavior within my life, and that particle behavior is going to impact my environment, and that loop of hatredness will continue for the longer period of time. However, when I stop giving attention to that particular thing, when instead of stopping attention, I change the behavior from the hatred to maybe in the beginning in form of no attention, then maybe I'm changing my feeling to a positive side and then towards maybe a love side. So ultimately I'm trying to either go through the particle route with a better energy, or I'm trying to be on the wave where I'm saying मुझे फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है, I'm भाड़ में जाओ, I don't matter what that person is thinking of me, I don't give a damn, and I don't give a damn about that person as well. So what you are doing, you are scattering that energy, and when you scatter that energy, ultimately what will happen over the period of time, ultimately that pattern will start breaking. Whatever pattern was there, that pattern will start breaking. So overall idea is, through the example of why we have to chant for the person who we hate most, is because at the fundamental level, at the quantum level, we need to change the pattern of the atom. Currently the pattern of the atom through Ichirin Sanzen is towards tangible and manifestation of that energy. We don't want that energy, so we need to start bringing a fresh energy so that that pattern will get break. And this phenomena of the observer effect, this phenomena of Ichirin Sanzen, we can use in our life as well. If we have to achieve certain concrete, if I am looking for a job, are you looking for a job through the anxiety or through the affirmations, right? So I'm also working on one of the website, manifestwithdaimoku.com. Please visit. My target is to make sure everyone will be able to achieve what they want with the help of Daimoku in a quicker way. But coming back to this topic, so the idea of the entire video is to make you understand that at the superficial level, the things work in a different fashion, but if we really need to change our circumstances, we need to work at the quantum level. And there are 3 ways for you to understand. Whatever way works for you, pick that and do that. Whether you understand the concept of Buddhist or never disparaging, whether you understand the concept of Ichirin Sanzen, or if you are a bit of sci-fi oriented, whether you understand through the observer effect. Ultimate outcome is we need to start focusing on a better outcome. I don't want negative energy in my life, and to do so I need to start, instead of giving my energy to that negative thing, hatredness, I need to start working on the dissipating that, scattering that hatredness. And when I do so, you will see that person start responding in a better manner. You will start using your wisdom to tackle that situation. You will, and maybe the protection also come from the environment, and that person will go away from your environment itself. However, that will not happen till the time you continue to be in the same pattern of hatredness, right? It may take years, or it may take centuries also, but it can happen in a one day as well, because of the concept of Ichirin Sanzen, 3000 realms in a single moment of life. At that moment, when you change your heart, when you change your intention, when you change your body and mind in totality, at that moment the change going to happen, and that ripple effect continue to happen as you continue to make that change from moment to moment. So that's it. Thank you.